sad ćete me čuti.
You will hear me now, great. I would kindly ask you to be seated so that we can continue with the agenda. We will now have our guests from this morning, Jennifer Butters, Carmel Doyle from Liverpool Women's Hospital from UK.
Prije nego se one...
Before they take the floor, I would like to ask you to do the following. Please help yourselves to the materials that are presented on the tables outside. They are materials prepared by partner associations, NGOs. They contain information that they, as NGOs for persons with disabilities, have collected from their beneficiaries, and they've written these papers. So, there are some of you who haven't contacted me for the parking cards. If you need them, please contact me before you leave. And now, Carmen and Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Where have you all gone? Just really, we wanted to show you the video of Liverpool Women's Hospital. And because we were supposed to show it this morning, but there was technical problems. So we're going to show you it's just a tour of the hospital for you to see what it's like.
Our early pregnancy assessment unit, and this is open 24 hours a day, every day of the year, for any woman who is under 20 weeks pregnant and has any problems at all.
Welcome to the maternity assessment unit. I'm Alwyn. Women can phone up to speak to a midwife before coming in here. You can come to this ward after 20 weeks gestation if you have any concerns with your pregnancy. We have lovely spacious rooms here where you'll be seen by a midwife and a doctor.
Hello, I'm Paula. Welcome to Delivery Suite. Women come on here to have their baby when they are being induced, having a caesarean section, or when they are high risk. This ward has recently been refurbed for your comfort.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome to Matthews. You'll come here after you've had your baby if you've had some complications. We also care for antenatal women who are unwell in their pregnancy. You can stay in a side room with your partner for a small fee.
Welcome to the midwifery-led unit. Pregnant women come here to give birth to their babies when they're at low risk. The rooms have recently been refurbished and we aim to deliver natural holistic care. We have 3 pool rooms that our women can use. You can phone to request a pool room once you're in the early stages of labour.
Hi, welcome to Jeffcote Ward. This is a low-risk postnatal ward where you'll come after you've had your baby, providing there are no complications.
Hi, I'm Jan. I'm one of the midwives at Jeffcote Ward. I'm standing in a typical room where you will come when you've had your baby and you will stay here until you go home, where we'll look after you. There's a small fee if dads want to stay as well, so you can be together as a family.
Right, thanks. That's just a little snapshot of our hospital. We're going to talk now about caring for women with sensory disabilities. Having spoken this morning, we are cautious that we may be repeating ourselves a little bit, so I hope that's not too much. So we will just go through a few slides. We're not very good technically, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to start?
So, as Jenny said, we will be repeating ourselves from this morning because we see all women with a disability as making them more inclusive, whether they have sensory or physically physical disability. So our aims is an awareness of how joint working can support the woman with sensory disability. So working together, so they are allowed to, and empowered to make the choices. An awareness of how breastfeeding support service can work in partnership to support the mother, her baby and the professional in the perinatal period, and really how to empower a midwife and support how the midwife actually empowers the woman and throughout her pregnancy from birth and beyond. Okay. So we've just put a quote up here from the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists about what a sensory disability is. A sensory disability is an impairment of vision, hearing or speech. And we know how important early intervention is. Early booking by a named midwife, for a midwife that they will build a relationship from the very beginning of their journey. And we know that continuity of care actually leads to good care and safe care. We would risk assess at regular intervals, as we said this morning, and to maintain safety. And working in partnerships with other services, social care, family support workers, occupational therapy and children's centres, which provide lots of support out in the community.
Okay. So what do we need to do for women who are blind or are partially sighted? We need to understand what the mother's needs are, not just as a mum, but as somebody who has extra needs. What methods does she need to get into information to make sure that she is fully informed of what her options are and what her choices are? So we can look at the types of things that we have, such as large print, special lenses, audio availability, sighted reader, computer with a synthesised voice. There's lots and lots of things now available. Does she actually have a guide dog that helps her, or use of a cane? And we need to know this antenatally so that we can plan and prepare for when she comes in to have her baby. And we can accommodate these things if we know in advance what we need to do. Can she travel to appointments? Can she get there? Does she need assistance with getting to appointments? Or do we need to go to mum in her home? And although we're more than happy to visit women at home, we also recognise the social inclusion of being able to come to clinics and parent craft sessions. So it's the continuity of carer that we see as being the key to success in building up that relationship to make sure what really matters to the woman and her family and try and meet the needs that she has. With deafness, very similar, that the midwives require a particular sensitivity to the needs of deaf pregnant women. We need to make sure that we don't make any assumptions about things. We need to make sure we know what is for that particular lady. Using an interpreter, in England we use British Sign Language as the mainstay of communicating with our deaf pregnant women. And remember that not all deaf women use sign language, so making sure that consultations are done in a way that if people need to lip read, that is done in the best way possible. We use visual aids as well, so the written word is important. In the absence of other risk factors, women will be offered choice of place of birth, including home birth, midwifery-led unit and the delivery suite. We've found in the past that home birth can be more appropriate for people who have disabilities, particularly the sensory disabilities, because they're so familiar in their own surroundings, so they feel safer, they feel more comfortable, therefore their labour is more likely to progress quicker, and they're more likely to need less pain relief, and generally the whole experience will be more enjoyable for the mum and her partner. Birth partners, we know, they know their partners very, very well, and it's important that we include them in all the woman's journey, because they can see when things aren't going so well, they can pick up on emotional well-being, and we include them in the birth plan where necessary.
Do you want me to do this? Yeah. So when a woman comes into hospital with a sensory disability, and before discharge, we put a robust care plan will be put in place, so that mum and her family would feel supported, and also be able to contact us at any time when there would be a problem. We offer a single room which they can be supported to become more familiar with their environment, so that we can show them before they're admitted that this room is available for them. We have maternity support workers who actually work in partnership with the midwives and offer practical assistance regarding feeding, caring for the baby, safe sleeping of the baby and recovery to normality. As I've said before, we can link women to other services so they don't feel isolated, so they feel they get that peer support from other women. They would be offered extra postnatal visits, to support them through the transition and to actually build their confidence about being a mum and having a new baby. When the time is right, the woman would be introduced to services. So usually in our country, after day 10, a health visitor would contact them. Now that can be done in a joint visit with the midwife, so there's a seamless approach to care, so the mother feels more comfortable. Completing joint visits with children's centre staff, family support staff who assess the home for safety, making sure that they've got the aids to help them. And just listening to the woman, their wishes, their feelings. And if they need to be left alone, then we will do that. Again, we have an enhanced midwifery team in Liverpool, and the women with a disability are referred early on in the pregnancy, and the enhanced midwives are very good with linking up and building relationship with other agencies to support women and actually putting a package of care in place, a very holistic care in place. And they work with services to provide assessments of home environments so the parents are supported on their discharge from hospital. And although as midwives, yes, we do advocate breastfeeding, but we actually advocate choice. And in Liverpool, we've achieved the UNICEF new standards in 2015, and it was a very, very big job for a hospital, such a big hospital to do, that all the midwives were trained up to that standard. We achieved UNICEF new standards stage 3, which was hard to get. However, we had to work in partnership with other boroughs within Merseyside. So we worked with 3 boroughs, and we basically come up with a basic, a picture of breast milk, how amazing it is. But on the other side of the coin, we also, we would respect a woman's choices and her feeding choice. So all women would be treated equally. Health professionals will offer a discussion in the antenatal period and develop a care plan. They would listen to their concerns and concentrate on their strengths. And staff would ensure that they are offered support with position and attachment to the baby. And I also feel that the partners are very important at this stage, because antenatally and postnatally, if you show a mum how to attach a baby to the breast and the partner's there, the partner can actually visualise how that baby goes to the breast too, and make sure that he can recognise feeding cues for those mums.
Okay.
The use of visual aid and demonstrations are very important for the blind and partially sighted. The physical demonstrations of using a baby sling, how to attach a baby to the breast, can be used by verbally describing the process. And I would say that always as health professionals, we obtain permission before physically actually touching the mum. Encourage the mum to use maybe the football hold, so the mother has a good access to the baby's face and can feel how actively that baby is sucking at the breast. And encourage the mum to actually use her fingers to assess where the nipple goes into the baby's mouth. We also, as a public health issue across Merseyside, we have a safe sleep policy. And the initiative supports parents to put their baby to sleep, following advice on smoking, medication, and making sure that they are supported at home. For women with a disability, we would support the mother to risk assess her home environment and make sure she had a cot that was at the correct height for her to actually pick the baby out of the cot and to handle her baby. This can be part of a discharge plan into the community staff. And maternity support workers, as I've said before, are very good at working with midwives, and they can help to adapt they can help the women to adapt in the new environment at home and the new addition at home.
We also have a peer support, breastfeeding peer support service in Liverpool called Bambies, and they work in the hospital and out in the community, and these are all mums that have breastfed themselves, and they actually do a great job in supporting us as midwives to give that extra support to women who want to breastfeed, so any mums, but particularly those that may be struggling with an issue. And they are available by phone, they go to the homes, and they can see them for quite some time after birth. The children's centres, as we talked about this morning, are centres that are available in the community that often have like creche facilities, lots of sort of bonding and attachment courses, activities, educational things. It's things where mums can gather and actually learn and talk to each other. And they offer a link into child development services where there's more input required, such as speech and language, safety in the home, support for play at home with younger siblings who may be feeling excluded because, it might not be mum's first baby. I don't think there's really an awful lot more to say. If you've got any questions, we would really value them and we'll try our best to answer them. But I think, as we've said before, it's the holistic model that we try to promote, and get to know your midwife, get to know your woman, and usually we can make most things work out.
Any questions?
Take that off there. Oh, is it John, this one?
Oh, sorry.
We do need the microphone for translation.
Okay.
Okay, I don't really have a question. I would like to, in fact, warn everyone of a significant difference. The ladies from Liverpool are midwives. So I'll repeat. I'd like to ask, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so I am grateful to be given the opportunity to hear you out, but I'd just like to highlight the difference between you and us. From what I've heard from your presentation, I can see that most of the care for pregnant women, maternity care, falls on the matrons and midwives. In Croatia, things are different. In Croatia, primary healthcare system mostly falls on nurses who work in gynecological offices, and gynecologists are primarily taking care of the mother and the child after the birth. However, antenatal care should involve community nurses. We do our best, as you probably had the ability to hear. I am a community nurse, but we try to do our best. The smallest share of our work as community nurses is related to work with maternity services. So I think this is extremely important. In Croatia, nurses take care of pregnant women, and midwives are in contact with women only during their stay in the maternity ward, and only during the first few days after childbirth, while they're still at hospital. If I understood you correctly, in the UK it's midwives, right? But in Croatia, midwives work in the maternity wards. Women who want to breastfeed can attend can attend IBCLC courses or counselors. This unfortunately is expensive. I am not sure whether or not we midwives who have attended this course are any smarter. I wouldn't say we're smarter, but I could only say that we, after having attended IBCLC, are definitely more experienced or more knowledgeable. So I'd recommend the course to everyone. Women with any type of disability need support, and we therefore, as midwives, need to be empowered in order to be better at our work. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Because I've got this on. Thank you. We do appreciate the difference between the midwives here and the midwives at home and the nurses that work in the community. And I do think it's about working in partnership. I think that's really, really important. However, in England, we believe that midwives are pivotal in providing midwifery care, and we talk about the midwife being the lead professional. And we look at a holistic care model of care from the very start of when their pregnancy starts to the very end. We do hand over to health visitors who are our nurses on the community, but it's usually around about 30 days. So the midwife for us is a very important part of the maternity process in England, but we understand that a lot of it's different here, and we know we've seen that difference, but it is about working in partnership. I think midwives and community nurses need to work in partnership regarding pathways, making it more accessible to women.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Me.
Može.
I have a specific question. How many women with disabilities, with physical disability, such as spinal cord injuries, do you see per year? So, or what is the percentage of overall pregnant women that are women with disabilities, physical disabilities, per year?
As I was saying earlier at lunchtime, sorry, can you hear me? We don't see an awful lot of ladies with particular spinal cord disability. We just tend to see I was saying to someone at lunchtime that it's probably around the number of about 50 a year, which out of 8,000, well, over 10,000 women book with us. But when I asked for the latest figures on actual physical disabilities, it came in around 50 or just under. But specific spinal cord injury, I couldn't actually say. But it's not high numbers. We don't see an awful lot of women with disabilities in that sense.
Josh.
I have one more question. So I have one more question. If a woman, prior to giving birth, has to be interned or has to be received at a maternity ward, I wonder about your units. Do you have several women in a room, or do you have one woman per room? And if you have several women in a room, is it possible to provide a single bedroom for women with disabilities? In Croatia, that's not the case. Generally, if we have a person with a spinal cord injury, we like to be alone if we're receiving any type of care in a hospital.
Absolutely. In our maternity unit, the wards are made up of several different ways. We've got some bays. The most we've got is 4 ladies in one room, but we have about 5 or 6 single rooms. Now, those rooms are available for people to have for a small fee if they want their partner to stay, and that's for any woman. But for a woman with a disability, whether it be sensory, physical, whatever, we would always make it part of their care plan that they were offered a single room with an ensuite bathroom facility. And that would be written in a note so that when she comes in labour or planned section or induction of labour or whichever way, it will be there usually by whoever's been doing the care, or I'll go and write in the notes that this lady is to have a side room, and that's what we do. It would always be. And then partner can stay. We have like little pull-out beds for the partner. And it might not be that she has a male partner as the father of the baby. It could be her mum, good friend, whoever her choice of partner is. We would always make sure that that was available. Yeah. And it would be free as well. We wouldn't expect you to pay for that. Any other questions? This is falling to bits.
Zanima me da je li...
Is the part of your team that cares for pregnant women and women after giving birth, are they also IBCLC counsellors?
All our midwives are trained in infant feeding through the BFI accreditation, and all midwives have training every year. We have 3 days mandatory training every year, and part of that is updating on infant feeding, etc. So not necessarily to that specific type of standard, but certainly from the BFI, isn't it?
And as in the majority of hospitals, UNICEF actually comes and visits us to actually assess us. So we need to get it right every year. So we are judged every year, making sure that our standards are up to date, really.
Anyone else?
No more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.